Hello, my name is Ariel. I am a student of English literature. This is my story. I want to tell you about my life story in London. I want to tell you about my fantastic teacher. Two women are on the train with me. The women are sitting opposite me. They are speaking English. I don't understand much that I am studying English, but I am a beginner. I don't know many words. I begun speaking to the women. I said some words in basic English. The women understood what I wanted to say, and that made me happy. I said that I want to learn English. The women told me that they are from England. They are going home from a conference. Our conversation was 10 minutes long. The next station was my station that I said goodbye. The women gave me their address and phone number. They told me that I can visit them in England. Then we said goodbye. After this meeting I worked on my English every day. I translated texts and watched films in English. In 6 months, my English was improved. It was good now, but I wanted to learn more. That I went to London. I wanted to study English from London. When I was in London, I joined school. My first lesson was on Monday. I met my teacher and other students in the class. My teacher was a young and fine lady. She was very nice and humble. We introduced ourselves, proceeded with the lesson. And then, our teacher has a question for us. She wanted to know our general knowledge about the language. Our teacher told that she can teach through a very effective method to learn English. This method was very simple. Our teacher tells us that we would not have to study, we won't have to read textbooks. But we would have to use English a lot in our daily lives. It turned out very effective for me. That I did not like studying from the textbooks because they confused me. Then we spoke about what is important when we learn a new language. Our teacher told us, language is a purpose and a mode for communication. We need languages to communicate. Languages help us to express ideas and thoughts. So when you learn a new language, the best method is to use the language to express our feelings. And to communication with other people as communication well, and this is what we will do in our course. We will speak and make use of English language a lot. Many students try to remember new words. They also study grammar rules. And these students don't use English for speaking. They study about the language, but they don't use the language. There is a difference. Of course, you need to learn new words and grammar, but you don't have to study them. You need to practice them on daily basis. In this course, I wanted to show a very simple and effective method on how to learn vocabulary and grammar. I like what our teacher says. Our lesson continues. We spoke about our hobbies and what we like to do in our free time. We spoke in pairs or with our teacher. I enjoyed taking classes. I am really happy. This system of learning turned out to be very good and effective for me. Chapter 2. How I learned vocabulary. I went to school on Tuesday again. One of the students asked the question which was interesting for me. She asked, "What is the best way to learn new words?" Our teacher told, "There are many things you can do to learn new words." I will tell you what is statistically the most effective way for learning new words. It is reading. When people read, they learn new words of their language, they learn twice as fast as people who don't read. It is good to read for at least 30 minutes every day. That I want to show you what you should do if you want to get the maximum profit from reading. First, it is very important that the book or text which you read is interesting for you. It is important that you enjoy reading the book. The book can be a nice story, or it can be fictional or non-fictional, whatever your interest is for the book. Don't read the text which isn't interesting for you. When you don't know many words, you can get frustrated. You always want to enjoy everything you do while using the language. It is effective to choose a text which is interesting and also okay for your level. When you read the text and you see a word which you don't understand, you should take a dictionary and find the word in the dictionary. Then you would look at its meaning. This will make better understanding of the text, and your knowledge for the text will be increased. You won't have to write the word anywhere. The word will automatically get locked in your brain, and you will always remember its meaning wherever you will see this word again. Every time when there is a new word for you, you will do the same. Reading also has another great advantage. When you read, you learn new words, and you also learn how each word is connected to other words in the sentence. You can see how to link the words correctly. This way of learning new words is very effective. Try it and you will see how fast you can learn new words. Then we continue with the lesson. We speak about the situation in England and about the best jobs for students. This is good for me, because I want to get a job. I want to do something in my spare time after school. I asked other students if they know that from where I can find a job. They told me that I should go to a job center. The job center offers a lot of jobs specially for students. This is good for me. I am happy that I know from where I can find a job. When my day at school was over, I went to the job center. I did not know what job I could do. So I asked the lady at the job center, "What is the best job for a student?" The lady told me that they have some good jobs for students. She told me that I can be a cleaner or a waitress in a cafe. I told the lady that I have no experience with these jobs. She told me that my English is good enough to work at the cafe. The training was not difficult and I can have more chances to speak English than being a cleaner. She told me that I can start my job on Thursday. It is all good for me. I am happy that I have a job where I can practice English. When you want to learn new words effectively, read for 30 minutes every day. On Wednesday, I went to school again. There is one student in the class who is more quiet than the others. He is from South Korea. When our teacher asked if we had any questions for her, this student from Korea said that he has a question. He said that he has a big problem with pronunciation. He knew that his pronunciation is not very good, but you did not know how to improve it. He doesn't speak much because he doesn't have others to listen to his bad pronunciation. He said that he reads and watches films in English a lot. He understands very well, but he also wants to improve speaking. He asked if there is something he could do to be better at pronunciation. When my teacher heard this, she said, "Okay, I will tell you something about pronunciation and how to practice it. I will also teach you techniques which can help all of you to become better at pronunciation. First, we have to look at why students have problem with pronunciation. When we speak, we have to move our mouth. We have to use muscles in our mouth that we all do that. The problem is that when you speak English, sometimes you use your muscles the same way you would use them in your native language. Then your pronunciation is different from the pronunciation of native speakers. This happens to many students to learn English. Almost everybody has a little different pronunciation than they should have. In fact, it is not a big problem because usually people understand what you want to say even if your pronunciation is not perfect. However, you can work on your pronunciation and make it better by a great technique which can help you a lot. The name of this technique is shadowing. The technique is very simple. When you do shadowing, you simply copy the sound which you hear. When children learn their first language, they learn it by copying. They copy after their parents again and again, and one day their pronunciation becomes perfect. If you can learn English pronunciation the same way, this is what you can do. You take some videos or audios recording which is not very fast and which you can understand very well, you listen and you copy what you hear when you hear it. That is all. Then our teacher went to www.youtube.com and she searches for the shadowing technique. She found good videos where the shadowing technique was very well demonstrated. We watched the video. Then we all tried to do shadowing for about 3 minutes, then our teacher told us. Shadowing is also good when you are preparing for presentation in English. And you want to have good pronunciation. Before the presentation, you can go to some place where you are alone and you can do shadowing for about 10 minutes. You will see how much it will help you to have better pronunciation during the presentation. This was very interesting for me that I haven't heard about this technique before. When the lesson finished, I went to the school reception. I asked the lady if there are any sport activities at school. I would like to do some sport in England. The lady at the reception says, yes, we have a table tennis team and a football team. The football team has training today at 5 o'clock. That I was very happy because sport is very important in my life. I went to the training of the football team. I met a lot of players from different countries. The players are from Brazil, Japan, Russia, Spain, Argentina, and Italy. That I liked the training. I was very happy that my time in England started well. I have a great teacher. I also have some new friends from my football team. Also, tomorrow I am starting my job as well. When you want to have a good pronunciation, repeat after native speakers. On Thursday, I went to school again. That we had new student in our class. Her name is Elizabeth and she is from Italy. At the beginning of the lesson, my teacher asked Elizabeth some questions. My teacher knows Elizabeth, because Elizabeth visited her class 1 year ago. It was a class for beginners and it was only for 2 weeks during summer holiday. When Elizabeth speaks, she speaks beautifully, her pronunciation is very good and she is fluent. My teacher was very happy and she told Elizabeth, your school in Italy must be very good. Elizabeth says, I don't go to any school. I learn English at home. I use techniques that I learn from you. I do a lot of reading, shadowing and thinking aloud. I try to think more in English than in Italian. This is how I work on my English. The 2 weeks which I spent last summer at your class helped me a lot. You showed me the way. I know how to work on my English every day. This is why I wanted to join your class again, because 1 year ago I was beginner and now I can speak English. I want to learn from you again. My teacher was very happy when she heard these words. She appreciated Elizabeth for her hard work. It is all very interesting for me. I already know about reading. I also know the shadowing technique. But Elizabeth also speaks about thinking aloud that I don't know what it is. So, I asked our teacher, what is thinking aloud? Our teacher replied, it is a very effective technique. You have to have a strong motivation to learn English if you want to have benefits from this technique. It is also good to know that for some people this technique is a little crazy. But when you start to think aloud, your English can be better very fast. I said, I have a strong motivation. I don't care if the technique is crazy, if it helps, I want to learn it. Can you teach us this technique? Okay, it is actually a very simple. You think in your native language all day every time. It is normal. Now you can start to think in English. And when you start to think in English, then you can think aloud. You simply say aloud what you think. It is all I say. It is very simple. Why is it very effective? Our teacher says, maybe you can ask Elizabeth, she uses this technique. Maybe she can tell you more about this technique. Then our teacher asked Elizabeth if it is okay for her to speak about experience with thinking aloud. It is not a problem for Elizabeth. She said, when I started with this technique it wasn't easy. I started with very simple sentences. For example, I can speak English. It is good that I can speak English. I want to be better. I need to practice every day. I don't know many words. But I can use these words. I can say my ideas with these words. I can do this. This is great. The sentences were really simple, but at the beginning there was one problem. My thinking in Italian was long and complicated. I was not able to say in English exactly, but I said in Italian. I needed to find a simpler form for English. To think in simple English was the hardest part. But after some time it was normal for me to think in English. Then something interesting happened. I met a man from Australia. He was on holiday in Italy. I was still a beginner, but we started to speak English. I could see that I was able to speak with him without having problems. My sentences were simple and short, but I was able to speak. I didn't translate in my head from Italian to English. After the meeting with the man from Australia, I started to use thinking aloud more. This technique helped me a lot with my speaking. I still use it every day. It is really a very effective technique. Our teacher thanked Elizabeth for her experience with thinking aloud. I wanted to use this technique because I also wanted to get better at speaking. When you want to speak English fluently, think aloud. Advice: when you want to learn English, read, listen, think, and speak. Do each activity for 30 minutes every day. Part 2. Hello, I hope you are feeling well. First, I want to remind you that there is the part 1 to this story. If you have not watched it yet, visit my channel and watch it so you can understand the whole story well. My name is Ariel. I am a student of English. This is my story. I want to tell you about my life in London. Chapter 1. How I learn grammar after school. I go to the cafe where my job training starts. I don't know what to expect. I have no experience. I am not sure if I can do this job. When I come to the cafe, I am very surprised. It is a modern cafe which sells coffee, tea, and also chocolate cakes and sandwiches. And my boss is only 25 years old. She started to work at the cafe more 2 years ago. She has a lot of experience and she knows everything perfectly. She shows me how to prepare coffee, how to wash the dishes and how to deal with customers. It is all new for me. She is very friendly and learn fast. After the first day at work, I am very tired. But I am happy that I have a job. The next day is Friday and I go to school again. One student asks an interesting question. Sometimes when I speak I am not sure if I speak correctly. I am not sure if I use correct grammar. Can you help me what to do if I want to learn grammar? Our teacher says, thank you for your question. There are two groups of students. Some students study English because they want to be able to speak. Some students study English because they want to pass an exam. For each group the situation is different. First, I will speak about the students who need English for speaking. If this is you, you don't have to study grammar a lot. When you learn your native language, you also learn it without studying grammar. You can learn English grammar naturally by using the language. The best way to learn grammar naturally is by reading a lot. Books are written in good grammar. When you read, you will learn grammar in the context of the whole sentence. You do it naturally. You don't have to try to remember anything. You only copy sentences with correct grammar. If you need English for speaking but also want to study grammar, you can visit grammarlevels.com. This website shows what grammar is important for the different levels of English. You can find the most important grammar rules for speaking there. The second group of students are those who study English for passing an exam. If you are one of these students, I recommend studying specifically for this exam. It can take the versions of this exam from the past years if it is possible and train with them. The second group of students are those who study English for passing an exam. If you are one of these students, I recommend studying specifically for this exam. It can take the versions of this exam from the past years if it is possible and train with them. Of course, your exam will be a little different, but the structure is usually the same or very similar. From my point of view, the versions of the exam from the past years are good training materials. Then I recommend going to the exam only when your results in the training materials are such that you can pass the exam successfully. Did I answer your question? Yes, thank you, says the student. This is good news that I don't like studying grammar. I learn English because I want to be able to speak. I don't need to pass any exam. I am happy that I don't have to study grammar much. I like reading and I am happy that I can learn grammar by reading books after the lesson. I go to the website Grammar in Levels. It is really a nice website. There are grammar rules with examples for each level. They have 3 levels. These levels are 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000 words. In the afternoon, I go to my work. It is my second day and I can already do lot of things by myself. But my boss helps me when I need it. That I see that my work is not very difficult. Also, I can practice English when I speak to our customers. Chapter 2. How test my English. It is Monday again, and I go to my school. Our teacher asks us what we did at the weekend. I say that I was at work on Saturday. I say that I can already do my work well. I say that I am happy when I can speak to our customers. When I speak, one of the girls in the class asks me, "What happened to your voice? You sound very different from what we heard last week." That I tried to speak like a native speaker. I know that it is not perfect. But I also see a big change in my pronunciation. Our teacher asks if other students tried to practice shadowing. 3 students say yes. One of them is the student from South Korea. That he also likes this technique. One student says that she tried the technique but her mouth was in pain after 5 minutes of shadowing and she stopped. She also says that she wasn't always able to repeat everything because the recording was very fast. Our teacher says, "Thank you for trying out this technique. If you do shadowing for the first time and your mouth is in pain after 5 minutes, you do it correctly. You need to train your muscles to this new way of speaking. It is like going to the gym for the first time. Your muscles can hurt if they are not trained. If the muscles in our mouth hurt, you can take a break after 5 minutes of shadowing and you can continue a bit later. With every 5 minutes of practice, your pronunciation is better." Shadowing has also other advantages. You practice the correct pronunciation in English, and you also practice other things, for example intonation, rhythm and connecting words in whole sentences. I know that at the beginning, the recording can sometimes be very fast for you. If this happens, you can repeat only the first or the last word in the sentence. With practice you will be able to repeat more. I say that it is true. On Saturday when I started with shadowing, it was difficult for me, but on Sunday evening, it was easy to repeat what I heard. Then I have a question for our teacher. I tell her that I looked at grammarlevels.com, the website is interesting, but I don't know what level is for me because I don't know how many words I know. Our teacher asks other students if they know how many words they know in English. It is interesting to see that nobody knows. We know that we are intermediate students, but we don't know how many words we know. Our teacher says, there is a website for people who study foreign languages. You can do a test there. You can know how many words you know. The test has only 2 steps and it is really simple. The name of the website is Test Languages. You can do the test every month and you can see how much you improved during that month. If you want, you can now take your smartphones and go to that website and do the test. I am really interested in knowing how many words I know. I do the test immediately. I find out that I know 2,100 words in English. Most of the students know between 2,000 and 2,200 words. Only Monica and the boy from South Korea know 251 words, our teacher says, so, you can see that when you go to grammarlevels.com, you should already know grammar from level 2. You can start using grammar from level 3 because level 3 is for students who know between 2,000 and 3,000 words. Moral: test your progress every month. Chapter 3. How I handle mistakes on Tuesday. I go to school again. One student asks our teacher an interesting question. She says, "I want to practice speaking with people around me, but I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to look stupid. Can you help me?" Our teacher says, making mistakes is a very interesting topic. There are a lot of opinions on this topic that I want to show you what I believe is the best to do. I have a lot of experience with this because I also learn new languages. For example, now I am learning Spanish. When I speak Spanish, I don't care if I make mistakes or not. The reason why I don't care about mistakes is simple. When I learned my native language, I didn't care about making mistakes. Mistakes weren't important for me. My main goal when I use any language is to say my ideas. It is all that I know that when I read a lot, speak and do shadowing, my Spanish will be better and better. I know that this can look very simple, but it is my opinion. This is what I learned after many years of teaching and learning languages. It works very well for me and many of my students. When I speak, I only concentrate on speaking. At the moment I know 1,500 words in Spanish. It is the level of a 2-year-old child. 2-year-old children make a lot of mistakes when they speak, but they don't care about their mistakes. They continue using their native language, and when they are 3 years old, they make very few mistakes. And when they are 4 years old, they usually speak very well. You can do the same. Now most of you know about 2,000 words. So it is absolutely okay to make mistakes time to time. When you continue using English, there will be fewer and fewer mistakes in your speaking. It is not possible to go to a higher level if you don't make mistakes. When you practice English, it is okay not to be perfect. Perfection comes with practice. All people who started to learn English, started from the beginning, from the same level, from level 0. Learning languages is like learning to play a musical instrument that it needs to be trained. When you start your training, it is not perfect at the beginning and you make mistakes. That it is normal. Take it as a necessary part of your learning process. You don't go through this period of making mistakes. You can't get to higher levels. When you continue to use English, the mistakes can step by step go away. If you want to make fewer and fewer mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. In real conversations, care only about exchanging ideas. Don't care about making mistakes. When you speak, you practice changing your ideas to words. Everybody who learns a foreign language makes mistakes sometimes. Famous people, bosses of big companies or politicians make mistakes too. When you listen to these people on TV, you see that they don't care about mistakes. They care about what is important, and it is saying their ideas. You can do the same. Does it make sense? The girl says, "Yes, thank you." Moral: if you don't want to make mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. Advice: to enhance your language skills in English, dedicate 39 minutes each day to reading, listening, and speaking. Immerse yourself in diverse materials to boost comprehension and fluency effectively.